What's up, everyone? I'm GKB, aka the man taking over gaming Woodbury by storm, the governor. I'm also joined today by my good friend, Mr. BrewtalKnight. Today on Gamers Knows Best, we will be discussing our review of Mighty Number 9. Does it really suck as bad as everyone says? I don't know. Let's get into the video. Okay, so real quick, I want to let everyone know the process for the reviews going forward. First, I want multiple gamers' opinions on a review. Second, we'll be breaking down the game into three main categories: graphics, gameplay, and story. We'll be discussing each one of these categories in depth. We will then close the review with an overall buy, rent, or straight flush it down the toilet grading system. Now, if you're looking for a game to bring you back to the glory days of NES and Super NES with those unforgiving side-scrollers, this is the game for you. And Funai-san's hopes, dreams, and aspirations of Mighty Number 9 were to be a spiritual successor of Mega Man, and with the help of Concept Studios and Deep Silver, I think they have done just that. Is Mighty Number 9 a perfect game? No, of course not. Like all games, it has its issues, which leads us to our first category, graphics. Graphics in games are visual storytelling elements that really get you excited about the game in the first place. So how did we like the visuals of Mighty Number 9? What did you think, Brutal? How did you like the visuals?
Personally, man, I thought Mighty Number Nine came in exactly where it needed to come in. With it being a successor to Mega Man, I, as well as yourself, well, a lot of us around the community are diehard Mega Man fans. We love Mega Man.
That's true.
This game brings it right back to that memory that nostalgia factor. With it's got the colorful environments, the way that down to like the way his armor, the overall look of his armor, um, the side scrolling, the graphics themselves are improved, which is to be expected. But at the same time, they're not cutting edge caliber by any means, but they are good for what Mighty Number Nine was trying to achieve in the first place.
Yeah, like for me as well, like I know we talked about this a little bit before, like going into this game, if you're thinking like a, graphical powerhouse of like say The Witcher or some other type, high profile game like that, you're
Right.
definitely going to be disappointed in this game. Like I think the visuals are adequate for like what the game is trying to achieve. They are light years, ahead of like some of the original like Mega Man games, like
Oh yeah, of course.
the lighting's, pretty good. I seen like some people, say, hey, the lighting's flat, this, that, and the other. But when you compare it to like the original Mega Man games, man, like they're just so much better.
Yeah, even just the rendering of all the character models themselves. Aside from, I mean, how much dynamic lighting do you want in a side scroller to begin with? What can you really expect? You know what I mean?
Right. I think like when it comes to like a side scroller, like lighting and all that kind of stuff, like takes like second fiddle to like gameplay, because that's really what it's all about in these type of games. Um, but
I completely agree.
I think the environments, like overall, I really enjoyed like how each boss like had its own like level, like to accentuate that boss's like abilities and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was really cool.
I agree. Like from the first cycle through with Pyro, I mean, like you're saying, there's like that correlation between what the boss is or what their power is versus the general landscape of whatever section you're playing of the game at the time.
hmm Though, like you were touching base there on like the characters and stuff like that, and I think all the models of like Beck and the bosses and everything, I thought they were really well done. Where I thought like some of the characters like fell flat was like in the doctors themselves, like the three of them, like they were very like generic 1980s, I'm a scientist,
I
white trench
agree.
coat kind of guys.
Yeah, they're very like like Pokemon Professor Oak. Like
Yeah. Yeah, which I didn't really understand, because you're like in this universe where like robots have AI and they're out doing their own thing and all
right.
this kind of stuff, and they're like very like they're almost like misplaced, like they don't belong in this
I
universe.
I agree. I agree. It's like Dexter's Laboratory runs into iRobot or something.
Right, right. um all right, so like what did you think of like the effects in Mighty Number 9 Brutal, like like that electricity thing and all that kind of stuff?
I thought the effects were awesome, man. I mean, they definitely acting back to Mega Man. I mean, you're gonna probably hear me say that a few times throughout this review. That I mean, this game is such a spitting image of Mega Man, and they did what their goal was in mind, and I can commend them from that. But the the actual obstacles, the environments, um, I thought they looked really cool. There's those generator things that we were talking about. I think it's
Hmm.
on the electricity level. I can't. I think it's Mighty
Yeah,
Number Three.
yeah, number three. Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool element, and it took me about 15 or 20 lives to actually figure out how to how to crouch dash underneath those
Oh my
things.
god, I know, dude. I died like so many times and like had to restart the level just because of that one part,
Dude,
man.
I would have flawless runs on my 35 40 point combo. Flawless runs, stacking extra lives, and I get to those generators and literally spam all my lives to death, and then I have to start over again.
Yep, yep. Yeah, like I mean, I kind of like agree with you for the most part. Like, I think the visuals, like, all together are very adequate for this game. They're not stellar and they're not groundbreaking in any sense of the imagination, but for what this game is and what it's trying to accomplish, I think they've done a really good job.
I agree. I mean, they keep those. I mean, Mega Man is bold colors and like cool, like quirky. It's like some semi. It has a like quirkiness to like the bosses. Like you don't get
Hmm.
a true sense of like doom and gloom when you play Mega Man. So like the colors overall, I can think kind of attribute to that. Aside from the animated bosses themselves. So
Now on to gameplay, and this category is the meat and potatoes of the game. This element of the game makes, or in many cases, breaks the game literally. So, what do we think of the gameplay?
I thought the gameplay was right on par with any Mega Man. What we would want to see out of a Mega Man. I mean, you have the um, between the blaster, the additional skills you pick up from bosses, and the sprint addition. I think all three of those make up for really smooth, really fun gameplay, just like we're used to from Mega Man, with a little something extra on the top of that.
Yeah, I thought the dash combo system is like one of the coolest features in the whole game. Um, it reminds me a lot of like Mega Man X because they had like a little bit of a dash in that one
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Not to this extent, which is really cool. I like the unlimited dash as well. It's kind of saved my butt in a lot of situations. But the combo as well, man. Like as we're going through the level, it's like almost a mini game in itself. Like you're trying to get like that max combo, and there's even achievements too. Like if you can go through the whole game and like perfect like combo the whole thing, which is kind of interesting.
Wow, that is a monstrous achievement.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect combo in the whole game is just ridiculous. I mean, because sometimes like you inadvertently will hit a boss, which will break your combo chain.
That's
Um,
true.
and I do like I liked they added that combo chain because you're right, it gives you that like arcade mini game style feel, which Mega Man already kind of akins back to the arcade era, so that kind of brings up that nostalgia factor for some of the older gamers or some and also gives that quick fluid mobility that the newer generation of gamers are going to like as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I wanted to switch into like the UI and stuff like that. Like for me, like when I first booted up Mighty Number Nine, like it had like that just simple music, simple intro screen with a very just couple options there, and it just
And
screamed Mega Man to me like the whole
oh yeah,
time.
man. I mean, it had that sort of like Japanese feel to it, right? I mean, with like
Yeah.
the Mighty Number Nine, like coming across, like I love that, man. Like the second I heard that come on, like the second that music started winding up, I was right back to playing Mega Man on the Super Nintendo, right?
Absolutely.
One thing I will say that I missed from like the Mega Man X genre was wall jumping. How you could jump the wall and
Yeah.
then slide down. I really like that mechanic in old Mega Man. But I think the way that they've kind of incorporated the dash and made the dash a lot more of a necessity.
Hmm.
I think it was a fair trade off to lose the wall jump. So I can't fault them too hard for that.
I agree. Did you like going through? Like for me, I didn't really notice any like bugs in the gameplay or anything like that. Like every time I hit jump, he would jump. Every time I hit dash, he would dash as many times as I wanted to. Firing was on point. I think the only like really clunky part of the whole UI, or is like switching the different abilities that you got from the bosses. You had to like hit the bumper and then hit the trigger to scroll through them, and then hit Y to do it. I thought that was kind of a little bit clunky. Like they could have cleaned that up a little bit. Did you
I
notice
agree.
any other like issues at all?
Um, I noticed some minor staggering throughout a couple of the levels, particularly the one that I noticed the most because it was causing me to die a little bit was the refinery map.
Mm-hmm.
When you're dashing through and those stacks are falling on top of you, I noticed a little bit of like game like stuttering a little bit to where it was causing my character to kind of revert back a little bit.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know if that was just like a specific issue to me or what it was, but um, I haven't seen very many negative reviews on as far as bugs go. I
Mm-hmm.
think they did a pretty good job with not having any bugs. The only thing I really noticed was um, every once in a while you can get stuck in where there's like the little narrow ledges that you can hang on to. You can't stand on them, but they're there just to hang on to and
Right,
jump
right.
up.
Yeah.
I got stuck in those a couple times, but overall, very bug free, very smooth gameplay. I can't I can't talk good enough about this game. I loved it.
Yeah, I agree too. What about the overall physics of the game? Like, did water feel like water? Did the air feel like? I don't know if you got to play, all the levels or whatnot, but
Yeah, I mean, I did play the water level, like you said. It felt slow, and I, as far as I can remember, they did do like some type of water mechanic in the older Mega Mans, didn't they?
I believe
Um,
so. Like some of there was like underwater ones, like
just that
characters.
restricted like slow movement.
Right.
Um, that I mean, and I'm not going into this expecting like crazy lifelike physics. I mean, it's
Right.
a
Right.
side scroller that they're not their main goal isn't to blow you away with their physics, is to blow you away with that equal dose of nostalgia and fun game to play. Um,
I agree.
looks weren't their main priority, weren't their main concern in the game, and that as an indie title, that shouldn't be your main focus. So
I
um,
agree. I agree.
the physics played out very well.
Yeah, I thought like because I played that underwater one, I thought that was really cool. Also like when you play the skyscraper one, like it had a lot of like wind blowing and stuff like that. So like when characters would shoot things, it would the wind would catch
Right,
it and
right.
yeah, and move it so much faster. And the same with like you jumping and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool and had some nice interesting gameplay mechanics there.
I completely agree. I mean, the physics played into making those maps a little more dynamic than just your standard jumping platformer.
I agree.
Um,
What I want to get into a little bit of the bosses because like for me, I thought like playing through the levels were like fantastic. It was a lot of fun, a little frustrating at times, but where I think the mechanics really shined is where you got to the boss fights. Much like the older Mega Man games, they were very unique in like how you had to beat them. What power up you had to use. Did you find those enjoyable, frustrating? Did you like how they played out?
I found them enjoyably frustrating. They were challenging, man. I mean,
I
if
agree.
you're playing them outside of, I mean, like you said, the older Mega Man, there was a rotation that you fought the bosses into, which the skills that you've already acquired will help you in the bosses that you're going to fight. And they've done the same thing with this one. The thing that I really enjoyed about the boss fights was that they had that same classic feel of they each have their own unique abilities, but at the same time, it's that single room like Mario boss style.
Yeah, you get
Or,
locked in.
yeah, exactly. And that's what I like that. And the bosses were, some of them were very difficult without the correct weapon, but which just adds to the enjoyment for me because, like you and I have said on countless occasions, you like the challenge. So I think that might turn some people off because it's classic arcade style. Start with 2 lives, and if you run out of lives, you got to restart from the very beginning. There's no checkpoints, so I
Yeah.
I like that. I looked forward to that when I saw this game coming out, and I'm happy that it lived up to what I was expecting.
Yeah, for sure. It was like a nostalgia train just running on and on and on, man, as I was playing through this game. Like, for me, like, playing the bosses, man, like, just some of the mechanics are just fantastic. Like, and they've also added a lot of things inside some of the levels, like the sniper guy. Man, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but he has a very tiered a level where you can jump on these little platforms.
Right.
And he has this little ball thing that he can shoot at, and it goes all over the map and stuff. So it's very unique in where you can like hide and then hit him. Definitely, like, for anybody that is thinking about picking up this game and kind of gets frustrated a little bit like this, there's an advice thing on each of the level selections. Make sure you check that out because it kind of gives you like a hint of what powers you should have for that level to help you out with the boss fight at the end. So I thought that was really cool too.
Yeah, definitely pay attention to that. It makes a world of difference. GKB just filled me in on one a day or so ago about I died at the boss how many times? I mean, just countless times dying at the same boss. And he's like, oh, that one's easy once you get this. I was like, what? Hey, you try it out. It's like, oh.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It's not impossible.
But yeah, like you were saying, though, I do enjoy, like, hard games. And, this is just back to that classic, like, just beating you down until you memorize every nook and cranny of the level and the boss at the end, and just to defeat it.
Because, I mean, with it being a side scroller, there's those bosses that wait to ambush you. So the second your screen reveals them, they start attacking you.
Right.
I can't tell how many times you get knocked off onto the ground or into the abyss and die. Like,
yep. And there's like this sense of like satisfaction too when you you finally get through it and you're like, yes, I beat him, yeah, and that's just great, man. That just makes you feel good.
I agree, man. I mean, and the fact that that you have those limited lives just adds to the reward at the end.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to our final topic here, and then we'll go ahead into our grading system. And that is now onto the story. For some games, story is everything. It's what keeps you gripped to the controller as you're like pushing yourself further and further just to see what happens to your favorite character at the end. How did you, or I should say, how did we like the story of Mighty Number 9? For me, this is like one of those games that like is kind of underwhelming in the story. I mean, it's very generic. It's like a virus that gets into, all the robots. The robots go crazy. You're the only robot that it's not infected. You're going to like fight all these guys and, save the world. So it's very generic in that aspect. And I think it's probably like the low point of the total game in all.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I wasn't going in expecting some epic story that I'm going to remember forever and be hanging on the edge of my seat. I mean,
I couldn't tell you like any of the stories in any of the other Mega Mans too. All I remember is like the levels and fighting the bosses. That's really all I cared about.
Yeah, I mean, and half the people playing this game now don't even remember original Mega Man. So, I will say that the story, I agree with you, though. The story was a little underwhelming. It was, I think, kind of generic playthrough, but this game's not a story-driven game. So,
like, honestly, like, they could have gave me this game with no story at all and just said, hey, there's a bunch of bosses, a bunch of levels, go ahead, have fun, and here's a couple other modes to enjoy after you're done. And I'd still be okay because, this game hits a low price point. It looks good. It plays good. I think it's just overall a really good game.
Absolutely. I mean, and think about it this way. The way I look at Mega Man's an arcade classic, right? And if you're going to play at an arcade, you're not going to play for a story. You're going to play for that instantaneous satisfaction, and that's what you get with this game. From the audio, from the graphics, from the physics, side scroller, it's an updated classic arcade experience, and I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah, it's kind of like funny too, like, because reviews these days are kind of like, story this, graphics this, and goes on and on and on and on. But when you go back to like the old NES days and some of those just like arcade side scrollers, they didn't have any kind of story whatsoever. It was just you going ahead against this level, beating this level, seeing how far you can get, and it was just fun. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it wasn't. There was no need for insane graphics because it was just a fun thing to do. Like I play this game and it's just fun to play. Even if I'm getting my ass kicked, it's still a fun game to play.
Yeah. But I mean, like in the review aspect of it, and in this category, you kind of gotta ding it as we have a category for story, and it's just
Right.
underwhelming. But I think the people that are actually going to play this game, like we've said, really don't care too much about the story in general. They just want to play the levels, beat the bosses, and just have a great time.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, you have to maintain, you have to keep that into, and take that for account when you are giving it its final score.
Hmm.
Um, and although I personally didn't want or don't think it really affected my outlook on the game, we got to give it a general rating as per what the average gamer would actually think of the game itself.
I agree. I agree. All right, so on to our verdict. So for Mighty Number 9, is it a buy, rent, or just flush this Lincoln Log down the toilet?
I'll start with pros. Pros, like I've said again, it comes through in the clutch with that classic arcade Mega Man. Um, the additional physical aspects they've added as far as a dash and the abilities that they've given Mighty Number Nine, um, all culminate together just to give you that classic feeling with a nice little uh, blend of modern gameplay as well.
Yep. For my pros, like I think the overall character design of Beck and the Mighty Numbers are all fantastic. I love the level design for each of them. It's very unique for each of those characters. Um, I think the overall mechanics of the game are spot on. They just work. There's no groundbreaking, crazy mechanics in this game. But the stuff they did add to up it from like older Mega Man games was just fantastic, and spot on. What about your
Absolutely.
What about your cons?
Cons. One thing we didn't mention that I would like to mention is I feel that some of the bosses' abilities that you acquire
Hmm.
are a little underwhelming. Even though the most of them lend a hand at some point in the game against another boss, a couple of the I found myself not needing or not wanting to use those skills, so they're kind of empty.
Okay, cool.
Which I do remember from the original Mega Man as well. So
Hmm.
I got to give that on the con list. Also, like we said, the story is not really up to par, but overall, like I said, I'm not really concerned about the story in this game. So, um, to be honest with you, man, trying to be as unbiased as possible, I can't really find too many game breaker cons in this game for myself.
Yeah, like I'm glad you brought up that whole like boss powers thing because I totally forgot about that as well. But that's definitely a con for me as well. Like, and it does go back to some of the older Mega Mans where I really didn't use many of the abilities. Us as gamers, we're gonna find the most OP thing we can do and just play that on every level. And I found myself using like mostly like the freeze one, um, and like the rocket one that you can make explode wherever it sticks and stuff. Like I found myself
Right.
just using that one just on almost every stage. So yeah, I think maybe a little bit balancing of those to make them more viable in different situations would have been nice. Other cons, like I said before, is like I think they should have thought about some of the characters' designs a little bit more, and that's harping back to, the doctors and or the scientists. I
Yeah.
think they were just generic placeholder type things. I didn't really care for them too much. They didn't really add to the story, and some of their like, you know, rants and stuff throughout the game were kind of like cringeworthy at some points. I'm just like,
I agree.
well,
I completely agree. Like Sonda.
yeah, when the lights go off and he's just like
Yeah,
kind of crying.
mommy. Like
I was just like, what is this going on right now?
yeah, I agree. Cringeworthy is a perfect word for that.
Yeah.
I think that with those characters, even though they're not really main storyline characters or main players of the game, they're in the story enough to where they need to have a little bit of extra oomph to them. I
Yeah.
agree with you on that.
Yeah. As far as like any other cons, not really. I mean, there's something to be said probably about maybe the difficulty of this that could be a con for some gamers. And for me, it's not. It's actually a pro for me. But I'd have to put it in there because it's kind of like a Dark Souls game to a sense where it would really turn off a lot of gamers because of just how difficult it is. Um,
Oh,
I
I completely agree.
Yeah.
like we were saying, is coming in as an older generation. That's what we're used to. That's what we grew up doing. So that aspect is a nostalgia factor for myself. Whereas a newer generation gamer coming in and playing that, they're like, "What the hell? There's no checkpoints, and I have to start all the way over again."
Yeah, this is crap. Whatever.
Yeah, they're not having that. That's where this game's getting those 4.5 and 5s at, man. Like people are hating for reasons that I find the game more enjoyable.
I agree. Like I found that really enjoyable, but for some people, I wouldn't necessarily throw it in as a con, but I think we should mention that to other gamers out there that this isn't an easy game. It's very difficult.
Absolutely. I mean, they need to. I mean, the good majority of gamers have played Mega Man, or at least know what Mega Man is, and going into this, like, that's what you need to expect. I mean, think about it. Think you have those 2 credits in that machine, and then it's game over.
Yep.
You got to restart. So, definitely keep that in mind if you're going in to play this game. Don't go into it thinking it's some epic adventure.
Cool.
Keep your expectations in check, right?
Absolutely. Always do that. So what is your verdict? Do you think it's a buy, rent, or flush it down the toilet?
Everything in my heart wants me to say buy. The price point's right. I got it for even bigger discount because I utilized my $10 credit I had from Microsoft. So I got the game for $10. At $10, I'm all about it. I had to say, when the game was released at $20, I didn't know if I wanted to spend $20 on it right away. After playing it and after what we've discussed, for the average person, I would have to say it's a rent. But if you are into that side scroller, or if you just want a little taste of nostalgia, like myself, after playing this game, I say it's totally worth $20. Go buy it right now if you haven't played it. But for the average gamer, you might just be a rent.
Interesting. Yeah, like I totally agree with you. Like, for your average gamer, I think it's probably a rent or find it on sale. That being said, like, my verdict overall on this game is definitely a buy. I think it's just a great game. I think it doesn't deserve a lot of the hate that it's getting out there. It has great mechanics, great character design. Story is meh, whatever. But we're not buying this for the story. So, and for $20, like, why not? Like, there's worse things to like spend $20 on. So I would definitely go ahead and say buy it.
Destiny DLC.
Well, that's gonna be costing you $30 here soon. But yeah, I definitely say go ahead and pick this one up.
Absolutely, man.
Well, that's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed our review of Mighty Number 9. If you did, dash combo the shit out of that like button. And if you didn't, well, you know what to do. Please share and subscribe. This is GKB and Brutal. Thanks for watching, and take care of your fellow gamers.